Roses are red, violets are blue. We are the group 10 and we will defend our study to you. Pleasant day, Miss Dassel. We are the grade 12 STEM students of STEM 12102 and we are here today to present to you our proposed study entitled Students' Barriers and Motivations in Learning Science in the New Normal. Together with my groupmates, Miss Sarah May Elidiros, Mr. Marvin Biligan, Mr. Vin Sabido, and Mr. Carlo Eugenio. For the background of the study, here is Mr. Carlo Eugenio.
This type of study is not much known yet, so the researchers started to create a research about this topic. There is now limited research available in the internet, and this topic is something new that needs to have a research, as it may help students and administration on this topic. The goal of this study is to determine what are the students' challenges, impediments, and motivations in learning science in the new standard educational system, and give strategies that can be helpful for those students that are struggling in learning science in the new normal education. Since science is one of the most difficult and vital courses for a student to study.
Good day, my name is Sarah May Saladiros and I will present the statement of the problem. To know more about student barriers and motivation in learning science in the new normal, the following questions were addressed. First, what are the strategies of students in learning science in the new normal? Each student has different techniques and strategies in learning science amidst this pandemic. Science is a primary subject in school except for maths, Filipino, and English. In senior high school, especially STEM or Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics track, science is acquired into different subjects such as chemistry, physics, biology, and earth and life science. Through this study, the researcher wants to know what are the strategies of students in learning science. Second is, what are the factors affecting student motivation for learning science in the new normal? Pandemic takes students apart to learn and focus, so learning at home may disrupt students in different kinds of factors to study and learn science. That's why the researcher wants to know what are the factors affecting student motivation in learning science in this new normal. And lastly, what are the strategies to be used in enhancing student motivation in learning science in the new normal. Let us now move into the objective of the research. The main goal of the study is to determine the student motivation and the barriers in learning science in the new normal, specifically referring to distant learning method. To determine said factors, the objective of the study are as follows. Number 1. To determine what are the strategies of students in learning science in the new normal. Number 2. To find out what are the factors affecting student motivation in learning science in the new normal. Last, to discover student new methods and or adaptation that are used in enhancing motivation and attentiveness in learning science in the new normal.
Hi, I'm Marvin Biligan and I'm going to present the scope and delimitation of our research. Scope and delimitation. Every research has its own scope and delimitation. And for our research, the scope will only be on the factors that sets barrier on students and the factors that motivates students to learn science in the new normal, which is distance learning. And for the delimitation, first is the schedule of respondents. Respondents are the current grade 12 STEM student of National College of Science and Technology. As we may know, students have a lot of things to do, especially they answer the survey online. A lot of factors may affect their schedule like internet connection and their schoolworks. Next is, the respondents might not answer the question accurately. Honestly speaking, we don't handle the way how they answer the survey. Some may answer it accurately or some may answer it inaccurately. And last is the method of data collection. The researcher used fully digital survey as it may not be reliable than the say physical interviews. And that is for the scope and delimitation. Until the next report.
Thank you, Mr. Biligan, for reporting the scope and delimitation. Now, we will tackle onto the significance of the study which seeks to aim the importance of the study in the first place. The research was conducted in order to determine or pinpoint the motivations and barriers of students in learning science amidst the current COVID-19 pandemic. Said motivations and barriers may be pre-existent or entirely new due to the aforementioned virus epidemic. Now, because the study was focused on science subject in general, the research will greatly contribute to STEM strand students the most, mainly because they have the most exposure in science subject. This also means that the teachers of said strand may be able to learn something from it. With the results of the researchers' papers, teachers may be able to learn what factors mainly contributes to their students' motivations as well as what hinders them from learning. Parents may be able to benefit from the study as well, since it can give them awareness to their children's learning struggles so that they can provide aid to them when it is necessary. Regarding theoretical application as opposed to the two previous practical uses, future researchers can benefit from this study too. It may serve as guidance, a source of information, or even inspiration for new studies. Although the study focuses on science in general, there may be similarities with other subjects. Even if it is the opposite, it will still give birth to a new research project. And at last but not the least, the researcher's very own school, the National College of Science and Technology. Because the survey used to examine results in this research paper were conducted specifically in MCST, it may be concluded that the staff working there would benefit the most and will then use the acquired information much more efficient than others, knowing that it is based on their own institution. They can then give advice, prioritize, and give more attention to those in need, and even modify programs to incorporate better methods of teaching the science subject. And that ends the significance of the study. The next component would be the conceptual framework of the study. This component utilizes flowcharts to better present or organize the steps needed to finish a study. This particular paradigm is quite a simple one, mainly for it to be understood easily. The topic also enables this plain structure, mainly because it is only trying to pinpoint or identify barriers and motivations that are created as a result of the new normal learning methods. One can identify this by the arrow which symbolizes cause and effect. The bullets under each component also notes the subtopics under it. As shown in the flowchart, the box containing new normal learning methods shows online, hard copy, soft copy, and TVs and radios as learning regions, together with their asynchronous or synchronous categorization. The topic on the other box contains the motivations and barriers of said learning methods. For example, the online learning tools and flexible hours are the new motivations that can help students academically, while connection issues, lack of available devices, a new environment, and interaction are the common barriers. What we can conclude for this is that the motivations and barriers are dependent on the learning methods, which are independent. And that ends the conceptual framework.
Research design. The researchers use quantitative research for a research approach. According to Aliaga and Gunderson, year 2000, quantitative research is explaining the phenomena by collecting numerical data that are analyzing mathematically based methods, in particular statistics. Also, quantitative research utilizes numbers and statistics. As for our methodology, we collect the numerical data that will answer the research questions, and using statistics for analyzing and for testing the reliability of the questionnaire. Now, for the research design, the researchers use descriptive research, as this type of research design is used when the research aims to identify characteristics, frequencies, trends, categories, and used when the topic is not much known yet. For this case, the current topic is not much known yet, as the distance learning just started 2 years ago, with no further similar research available for references. Also, this research aims to identify the motivations and barriers of students in learning science in the new normal, and to give strategies or suggestions that can be used in enhancing students' motivation in learning science in the new normal.
Let us now move into a source of data. The participants of this study are the grade 12 STEM students of National College of Science and Technology academic year 2021 to 2022. Using the Sloven's formula, we formulate and calculate the sample size needed from the total population. However, the total population of enrolled grade 12 STEM students of National College of Science and Technology for academic year 2021-2022 is 215, whilst the margin error are set to 10%. After the calculation, a total of 68 grade 12 STEM students of NCST academic year 2021 to 2022 were selected as the respondent. However, the respondents are selected using a random sampling technique.
Thank you, Ms. Elelius, for reporting the sources of data. We will now move on to the sampling technique that is used in this particular research. The technique that we use in this study is simple random sampling. Since the participants have an equal and fair chance of being selected, as the selection method gives every participant a fair chance of being chosen. The resulting sample is unbiased and unaffected by the research team. That is the method used in order to choose the respondents to the study.
Research instrument. For the research instrument, the researchers use questionnaire as an instrument to measure the students' motivation and barriers in learning science in the new normal. It is the easiest way to collect data, especially where are all in the new normal where internet is the current way of communication and learning. The researcher made questionnaire consisted of 4 parts. First, part 1 asks the profile of the respondents. It will determine the name, section, age, and gender of the respondents. However, these are optional. Part 2. Use a recognition type of question, which is the tool to describe the struggles of grade 12 STEM students in learning science in the new normal. It is divided into 4 different aspects of issues, which is technological issues, material issues, environmental issues, and personal issues. And for part 3 is the tool to identify the factors that affect the motivation of the respondents on learning science in the new normal. Part 4 is the tool to describe the situation of students' strategies to improve learning in the new normal mode of education of grade 12 STEM students. Both Part 3 and Part 4 use Likert scale. However, Part 3 use 5-point scale, which is strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. While Part 4 uses 4-point scale, which is always, often, sometimes, and never.
Thank you, Mr. Billigan, for reporting the research instrument. The next component focuses on the validity of the research. Validity encompasses the accuracy of what the researchers are intending to measure, which on the researcher's paper is the motivations and barriers of students in learning science. The researchers made sure that the content of the survey would be capable of collecting data that will cover the aspects that they are intending to acquire. That is, that it will actually answer the statement of the problem. For further validity, the methodology was submitted to the subject advisor and was approved with a passing mark. Thus, it is concluded that the survey will be used is up to standard.
Thank you, Mr. Vince Sabido. So now, we will tackle the reliability. To know how reliable the questionnaire is, first, the researchers tried the questionnaire to 10 random grade 12 STEM students in NCST. And after trying, they calculated the reliability using the Cronbach's-Alpha formula. The Cronbach's-Alpha formula is A equals K over K minus 1 multiplied by 1 minus the summation of the item variance over the variance of the total score, where the K is the number of items. So we have 26 items, so that's our K. And then the summation of the item variance is 29.44 and the variance of the total score is 128.67. And we got the score of 0.80 that indicates the questionnaire is good. Thank you. So now, we will tackle the data gathering procedure. Due to today's pandemic, the researchers has no other option but to use the internet to conduct a survey. So with the use of Google Forms, the survey questionnaires was distributed to 68 students under the grade 12 STEM strands in NCST and with no physical contact needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Humanan, for reporting the data gathering procedure. Now, onto our final component, which is the statistical treatment of data. Because this study is categorized as quantitative, numbers will be the focus instead of statements, and percentages are a common sight inside research papers. The same is observed in this current paper, and so the researchers will be using the percentage formula. As one can see, the formula is the frequency of the value over the actual total value multiplied by 100. This is used in order to accurately measure the number of respondents who chose a particular response, which is seen in surveys where multiple choices are the norm. Next formula that is also used is the weight mean. Weight mean is quite similar to weight average, but weight mean makes it so that other numbers can have more influence than others, as opposed to weight average where every number has the same influence. It is calculated by the summation of the weight and its corresponding value or amount over the total weight. With this formula, the researchers can determine the weight average of the amount that the respondents has chosen, which will then be interpreted using the table below. Lastly, the Sloven's formula is used in order to determine the sample size of a large population. It is mainly used in order to provide ease to the researchers in a way that they will determine the needed statistics with just using a sample that can represent the population. It is acquired by dividing the total population by 1 plus the total population multiplied by the preferred margin of error squared. And with that ends the first two chapters of the research paper in the eBrod format. Thank you for listening.